Hey everyone, and welcome back to Spoons for Life. If you're listening to this from bed, maybe with the curtains drawn to keep the glare out, or if you've been sitting in your parked car outside of your house or your office building for the last 10 minutes, engine off, just staring at the steering wheel, trying to gather the momentum to open the door and face the next thing. Welcome. Wherever you are, whatever state your body and your mind are in right now, I am so incredibly glad that you are here. Now, before we say or do anything else today, I want us to take a collective, deliberate moment to just arrive. You don't need to rush into this episode. We have absolutely nowhere else to be for the next several minutes. The world can wait. Your to-do list can wait. The expectations of others can absolutely wait. Let's do a gentle, non-judgmental scan of where your body is right now. Go ahead and take a deep, slow breath in through your nose. Let it fill your chest and hold it just for a second. And now release it slowly through your mouth. As you breathe out, see if you can let your shoulders drop a fraction of an inch away from your ears. We carry so much physical armor there that when we're tired or in pain, we just need to let them go heavy and relax. Now check your face. Unclench your jaw. If your tongue is pressed hard against the roof of your mouth, let it soften and fall. If the tiny muscles between your eyebrows are knit tight from squinting or straining, let them smooth out. If your hands are balled up into tight little fists, open your palms. Let your fingers curl naturally. If you're managing physical pain right now, send a quiet, compassionate acknowledgement to that part of your body. You don't have to fight it in this space. We are just letting the nervous system step down from high alert. If you've been in survival mode all day, consider this your green light just to rest. You don't have to be on for anyone here. You don't have to perform health or competence or energy. You just get to exist. Today we're going to look at a topic that I know can feel a little heavy, a little frustrating, and even trigger a wave of guilt. We're going to talk about reclaiming a piece of our lives that so often gets stolen by exhaustion, chronic illness, and burnout. We're talking about hobbies, joy, and finding a way to play when your battery is permanently sitting at 10%. So let's take one more deep, grounding breath together. And let's slide gently into today's conversation. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. When I first said the word hobby to you a minute ago, what was the immediate reaction in your body? If you're like most people in the chronic illness, neurodivergent, or high fatigue communities, you probably felt a little pang of frustration. Maybe your stomach tightened, or a quiet wave of guilt washed over you. We look at the world around us, at social media, at our high energy friends, at the lifestyle creators, and we see people who bake elaborate crusty sourdough bread from scratch, or train for triathlons, or paint gorgeous multi-layered oil canvases. or learn to speak Japanese on an app in their spare time. And then we look at our own lives. We look at the reality of our days. We look at the fact that we barely have the physical spoons to feed ourselves a basic microwave meal, keep up with our doctor's appointments, track our symptoms, manage our medications, do our laundry, or drag ourselves through our essential work tasks. We are operating on a severe daily energy deficit. Every single drop of our energy is spent on baseline, exhausting survival. And because we live in a culture that is absolutely obsessed with hustle, optimization, and output, we get trapped by a deeply toxic, systematic lie. The idea that every single thing we do must have a purpose, a product, or a side hustle potential. We are taught that our value as human beings is directly tied to our productivity. And so we turn even our rest into a chore. Think about the language we use with ourselves. We say, okay, I need to lay down and rest right now so that my pain is manageable enough to work tomorrow. Or we say, I need to sleep so that I can be productive on Monday. Think about how insidious that is. We treat our bodies like machines that we only maintain so we can send them back to the factory floor. We treat rest as a transactional utility, not a human right. We are resting for labor instead of resting for ourselves. But what happens when you have a chronic condition and your battery never actually charges to 100%? When your maximum energy capacity on a good day is what a healthy person would call half empty. When you spend 99% of your energy just trying to keep your head above water, your brain looks at a traditional high-effort hobby and it does a quick, brutal calculation of the biological budget. It says, okay, to do that craft, I have to get out the box, I have to set up the dining table, I have to think and make creative decisions and make sure it looks good, and then I have to spend 30 minutes cleaning it all up. That's going to cost me 10 spoons, and I only have 2 left. Absolutely not. And so we default to passive doom scrolling. We sit on the couch or lay in bed and we pick up our phones. We scroll through TikTok or Instagram or Reddit for 2 hours, and we tell ourselves that we're resting. But let's be completely honest with ourselves. Scrolling is not a hobby. It is a digital placeholder. When you scroll, the busy background part of your brain that never shuts up stays wide awake. You're processing endless streams of random, fragmented information, absorbing bad news, comparing your life to others, and watching other people live. It doesn't exactly recharge your battery. It just numbs you out. Your eyes get dry, your neck gets stiff, and you slip into a scrolling trance. And when you finally lock your phone and put it down, you don't feel restored. You wake up the next morning feeling just as heavy, just as depleted, and just as empty as before. So what we're going to do today is smash the trap of productive rest. We're going to talk about how to reclaim actual, genuine, sparkling joy through sustainable hobbies. Things that give your brain and body a soft, beautiful place to land without requiring a massive physical, mental, or emotional deposit. Because you deserve to experience joy, not just survival. You do not have to earn the right to play. All right, so let's get into it. How do we actually find a hobby when we have absolutely no energy? We have to completely strip down and redefine what a hobby even is. In this space, for you, a sustainable hobby has two incredibly strict and non-negotiable rules. It must have zero stakes, and it must have zero required output. It does not need to look pretty. It does not need to make you any money. It does not need to be something you can post on social media to prove you are a functional adult. It exists purely 100% for the tactile, sensory, or mental sensation of doing something in the present moment. To make this practical, we're going to have to use the spoon theory. And if you're new to the concept of the spoon theory, it's basically the idea that those of us with chronic illnesses, disabilities, or high fatigue start each day with a limited, finite number of spoons or units of energy. Every single task, from brushing your teeth to answering an email, costs a spoon. And when you're out of spoons, you're done. Instead of choosing a hobby based on what sounds impressive or what you used to do before you got sick, I want you to choose a hobby based on how many spoons you actually have in your physical possession right this second. So to do that, we use the low spoon hobby menu, and it's broken down into 3 distinct levels. I want you to start thinking about where your energy naturally lands throughout the week. So level 1, this is your passive and body soothing hobbies. Only uses about 1 to 2 spoons. This level is for the days when you are physically and mentally cooked. Maybe you're in a severe pain flare, a heavy depressive episode, an autistic burnout phase, or your nervous system is just entirely fried from sensory overload. You cannot create, you cannot stand up, and your brain is simply too tired to read words on a page. But you still need a gentle, passive anchor so your mind doesn't spiral into anxiety or doom scrolling. At level 1, we focus on body soothing hobbies. Things that cuddle your physical body and calm your nervous system. One of my favorite level 1 hobbies is an auditory gardening and immersive soundscape. This is not just putting on background music while you clean. This is an active, immersive sensory experience. You put on a pair of comfortable noise-canceling headphones. You lay down in a comfortable position. You put a weighted eye mask over your eyes and you listen to a high quality 3D audio track. Maybe it's the sound of a heavy thunderstorm hitting a metal roof of a cozy cabin in Scotland. Maybe it's the ambient sounds of a medieval library, with the crackle of a fireplace and the wind howling outside and the soft rustle of parchment paper. Because it's 3D audio, your brain actually places you in that environment. It uses those gentle back and forth sounds to quiet down your brain's alarm system. You aren't doing anything physical, but you're giving your nervous system a deep, calming sensory break while keeping your mind gently anchored in a beautiful and safe place. Now, that is one that I use almost daily. When I'm done with my workday, I like to go soak in the bathtub to calm my nervous system down. And a lot of times I end up soaking for about 2 hours or so. Water gets cold, I drain it, fill it back up, and lay back again. I don't use the headphones. I really don't like things over my ears. But I do have an Amazon Alexa in my bathroom. So I just turn that on and have it play some soundscapes for me. I lay in the tub, I close my eyes, and I just relax and let go of the day. Another incredible level 1 hobby is watching what I call zero drama, slow content online. This is visual pacing for a fried brain. Have you ever watched a video of someone restoring an old rusty pocket watch or washing a filthy mud-caked antique rug? And I'll admit, those rug washing videos are one of my secret go-tos. There's something just oddly relaxing about watching that. There's no talking, there's no bright flashing lights, no music. Just the rhythmic, tactile sounds of scraping, polishing, brushing, and rinsing. Or what about a 10-hour slow TV video taken from the front window of a train moving through the snowy mountains of Norway? It is incredibly soothing, and it gives your brain the satisfying dopamine hit of watching something go from chaotic to clean, or moving from point A to point B with absolutely zero narrative stress, zero characters to keep track of, and zero emotional investment. It lets your mind coast on pure, gentle, visual cruise control. All right, on to level 2. This is process over product hobbies. Takes about 3 to 5 spoons just because you are physically doing something, but it doesn't use too much bandwidth. Now, level 2 is the sweet spot. This is for the days when you have a tiny bit of mental bandwidth and you have absolute crushing decision fatigue. You've been masking all day, or you've spent hours dealing with insurance companies, doctors, or work, and your brain is just tired of making choices. You don't want to think, but you want your hands to do something satisfying while you lay down. This is where we focus on process over product. The goal is the doing, not the making. This looks like adult coloring books where the lines are already drawn and you just get to play with color. It looks like using watercolors to just paint random bleeding abstract shapes on a wet paper, with the explicit intention of throwing the paper in the recycling bin when you're finished. You aren't trying to make art. You're just watching how the blue paint bleeds into the yellow. It looks like playing cozy video games, like Animal Crossing, Unpacking, or games like that where you simply have no enemies. You can't die, and there's no ticking clock. The entire gameplay consists of organizing a digital room picking virtual fruit, or placing hexagonal landscape tiles to build a quiet little forest. And then we have my absolute favorite level 2 hobby, and this is one that's been a lifesaver for me. It's something that I started when my dad had his first brain tumor removed. Diamond art painting. Now, if you've never tried diamond art painting, let me introduce you to the most wonderfully low stakes, high satisfaction craft on the planet, at least in my opinion. It's kind of a cross between paint by numbers and a mosaic, but it uses tiny, shiny resin rhinestones, which the community calls drills. When you get a diamond painting kit, you get a canvas that has a sticky adhesive on it, covered in a grid of tiny symbols. You have bags of colorful little diamonds that match those symbols. You get a little plastic pin and you press the tip of the pin into a square of pink wax to make it sticky. You pick up a single diamond and you press it into its matching symbol on the canvas. Why is this the ultimate sustainable hobby for low spoons? There is no creative decision making. After a long day of forcing your brain to solve complex problems, you don't have to stare at a blank page and wonder, what should I draw or what colors look good together? The path is already laid out for you. The design is there. Your only job is to match the symbol and press the diamond down. It is purely rhythmic, tactile repetition. And there is this incredible, satisfying, tiny little click or pop sound when the diamond snaps into its perfect little spot on the grid. It is literal bubble wrap for your brain. It keeps your hands busy so you're not tempted to reach for your phone and scroll. But it lets your mind rest completely. And if you're like me and you have ADHD as well, you hyper-focus. And for me, diamond painting is that. Like I said, I started this when my dad was in surgery for the first time. Sitting in that waiting room, I had to have something to do. Otherwise, I was going to go crazy. I didn't want to just sit on my phone. I didn't really want to talk to anybody. I wanted to be with my family, but I needed something to take my mind off of what was going on why we were there. And so I got a diamond painting kit. And I started it there in the waiting room of the hospital. It allowed me to completely hyper-focus and shut my brain off from everything that I was going through. All my emotions completely disappeared. And I was able to sit there and still listen to my family, listen to them, talk to them when I needed to. But it gave me the space to go that was peaceful and not stressful. And even this summer, now I work for a virtual school and we work year round. But the summer can get kind of slow. I have done 7 of these diamond paintings this summer. One of them was a 2 foot long by 2 foot wide. So it was a 2 foot by 2 foot square that I did for a friend of mine for his birthday. Sometimes they can take me a while. The smaller they are, they don't take as long. So while I'm sitting here with nothing to do for work, I still have to be logged in. I have my diamond painting on my desk next to me, and I'm working. And if a chat comes through, I can answer that real quick and go back to what I was doing. If I have a meeting come up, I can still be working on my diamond painting while listening to the meeting. Having ADHD, I need that input from my hands. I have to be doing something with my hands in order for my brain to focus, and diamond painting is one of those things that allows me to do that. I am working on number 8 right now, and I'm sure that it will be finished by the middle of the week. And you can buy these off of Amazon. They are super cheap. They have the cutest and sometimes the most amazing designs to them. And you can even get ones that are mystery painting. This means that your grid of numbers and symbols does not have any color behind it. So you don't know what the painting actually is until you finish it. The first one that I finished this summer was a mystery painting. And it was one that I had started a year ago. And then I got busy with work and just put it aside, and we had moved, and I just didn't have the room or the space set up to complete it. And it was one that I was working on. It was a mystery painting. And as you complete each little section, and what I like to do, I section it off into like 4x4, 4-inch by 4-inch squares, and do those. That way I'm not uncovering the whole sticky pad all the time. And they make release paper for that. You don't want to use wax paper or regular paper because it gets stuck and then it ruins the painting. But as I was doing this mystery painting and I was completing each little section, I was like, oh, it's a carousel. Cool. And it did. It looked like a carousel. It looked like the rods that hold the horses up. It was looking like that. And it was the bright colors, reds and yellows, and it was really bright and pretty. And then I get about halfway done with it, and I look at it, I was like, that's not a carousel. That's a comic book strip with Iron Man standing front and center. So instead of that one going in the hallway, it's going in my son's bedroom. But those mystery paintings are really, really cool. You can also listen to an audiobook or watch a favorite movie or just sit in silence while your hands do that beautiful, gentle work. I turn my music on and I sit and I paint and I hyper focus. And there's been times where I'm like, just one more little section. And then before I know it, I've got half of the canvas done. And I'm like, okay, it's midnight. I have to go to bed. But doing that level 2, the process over product. Yeah, the product of a diamond painting, it's pretty cool. It's really, really cool. And it's gorgeous. But again, it's the process, that repetitive process, that allows your mind to relax. And that brings us to the level 3 hobbies. This is micro doses of high spoon hobbies that can cost you up to 6 spoons or more. This is when you actually want to do a traditional hobby like reading a book, gardening, or knitting. But you scale it down to a microdose so it matches your actual, real day capacity rather than your idealized high energy self. We often fall into an all or nothing mindset. We think, if I can't read for an hour, what's the point of opening the book? If I can't manage a whole garden, why bother planting anything? But you can microdose these things. If you want to read your level 3 hobby is micro reading. Your only goal is to read exactly one page of a book before bed. Just one page. If you read more, that's a bonus. If you only read that one page, you did your hobby. You're a reader. If you want to garden, your level 3 hobby is caring for a single pot of mint, basil, or a hardy succulent on your windowsill. You don't need a backyard garden. You just need one little green life that you can touch, water, and smell. Scale your desires down until they fit inside your actual physical reality. There's no shame in a small hobby, and a microdose of joy is infinitely better than a massive dose of frustration. So we have our menu. We know what kind of hobbies fit our energy levels on any given day. But let's talk about the real, invisible wall that stands between us and our hobbies. Let's talk about friction. Our brains are wired for survival, which means they are naturally designed to conserve energy. When you're exhausted, your brain is looking for the path of least resistance. Imagine it's 8 p.m. You're laying on the couch or in your chair. Your physical battery is at 5%. Your brain looks at your phone, which is sitting right next to you on the cushion. The phone represents zero friction. You don't have to get up. You don't have to think. You just slide your thumb. Then your brain looks at the closet down the hall where you keep your hobby supplies. To do that hobby, you would have to get up off the couch, walk down the hall, pull out a heavy bin, carry it to the table, set it all up, and only to pack it away later. Your brain calculates that cost and says, absolutely not. That is going to cost us 5 spoons we do not have. And so the phone wins every single time. If you want a hobby to be sustainable, you have to lower the friction. The setup and the cleanup must take less than 60 seconds. So how do we do that? You use a hobby in a box method. Step 1, you choose your container. This is about 1 spoon. Find a container that fits your resting space. This could be a small, beautiful woven basket, a plastic tray with a lid, or a flat storage bin. It needs to be something that can sit permanently right next to your spot on the couch, on your nightstand, or slide directly under your bed. For me, for when I do my diamond painting, I have kits. I have all 140 something colors in both round and square drills. Both of those cases sit right underneath my desk because where I do my diamond painting is at my desk. And then I have the actual kit. So every time I pick what painting I'm going to work on, I do what's called kitting it up. So I open the container that for the drills that I need. I look at the color key and I pull out all the colors that I need. And I put those in a small plastic tray that sits on the top of my desk. I pull out my pens, I pull out the sorting trays, I pull out my papers, and I get it all set up. It takes me maybe 5 minutes to get it all set up. And this way I'm not constantly looking for the colors. I put them in the small tray in the order that they go. So let's say that it's all in alphabetical order. A is the first color, B is the second, so on. So I put them in ABC order. That way I know if I pull this color, that is A. And I work in ABC order or in numerical order in each section of my painting that I do. That is a low spoon cost for me. My container's ready to go, and it's just right there. All my tools are there, which gets me into step 2, and that's gathering every single tool. So like I said, everything I need I put inside that one container. My diamond paintings, everything's right there. The wax, the drills, the pins, a small pair of scissors if I need it to open up the packages of extra drills. If you're reading, you put the book, your reading glasses, a bookmark, and a highlighter in there. You don't leave a single tool across the room because that just means you're creating more friction by having to get up and move. And then you position your station. Now, I do have a mobile station for my diamond painting. It's just a small table that I keep that I can just move right in front of my chair. So I can grab my kit and I can set up at my mobile station in my chair if I'm not working at my desk. So you place your container within arm's reach of your favorite collab spot. It should require zero effort to grab. If you're laying in bed, the basket's on your nightstand. If you're in your recliner, the tray's on the side table or slipped under the chair. By setting this up on a day when you have a few extra spoons, you completely eliminate the friction for your low energy days. And when you sit down, you don't have to get back up. You just reach over, pull the basket into your lap, pop off the lid, and you're instantly in your joy space. Which brings us to the second and equally important rule, the rule of zero cleanup. If you must choose hobbies that can be abandoned at a moment's notice without ruining anything. If your body suddenly hits absolute zero, which we know can happen in a split second with chronic pain or fatigue, or if you have a sudden symptom flare and it needs you to lay flat, you cannot be worried about the cleanup. If you're painting with acrylics, you can't just walk away. The paint will dry, the brushes will be ruined, and the table will be stained. And if you have animals running around, you're going to wake up with a multicolored cat. That knowledge creates a massive mental barrier to starting your hobby. But with a sustainable hobby like diamond art, a coloring book, crocheting, or a cozy game, there's nothing to wash, there's nothing to dry, and there's nothing to spoil. If your battery hits empty or your alarm goes off and you have to take your medication, you can literally drop the tool into the tray, put the lid on it, slide it away, and walk away. There's no mess, no ruined supplies, and most importantly, no guilt waiting for you when you return. You are creating a physical space that adapts to your body's fluctuating needs, rather than forcing your body to adapt to the hobby. As we start to wrap up today's episode, I want to talk about the biggest and heaviest hurdle you're going to face when you do this. It's not finding a basket and it's not buying a diamond painting kit. Those things are everywhere. It's the voice in your head. The very moment you sit down, pull that tray onto your lap and start clicking those tiny diamonds into place, or you open your cozy game, that inner critic is going to wake up. It's the voice that has been conditioned by society that values us only for our productivity. It is the voice of internalized guilt that so many of us with chronic illnesses carry. That voice is going to whisper, "What are you doing? This is a complete waste of time. Look at the sink. There are dishes in there. Look at that laundry pile. You haven't put up your laundry in a month. You're living out of a basket. Your emails, you haven't even answered them yet. If you have enough energy to sit there and play a game or stick plastic diamonds on a canvas, you should be using that energy to clean or work or be productive." I want you to listen to me carefully. That voice is lying to you. When you live with a chronic condition, rest is not a reward you earn after you've done all the work. Because let's be honest, the work is never done. There will always be another dish, another laundry load, another email, another chore. If you wait until everything is done to allow yourself to experience joy, you will never experience joy again. I want you to give that inner critic a very specific, firm script when that voice starts whispering. I want you to talk back to it. You say, "This is useful. My joy matters. My rest matters. I do not have to earn the right to exist or enjoy my life. I am actively healing and refueling my nervous system by doing something completely pointless, low stakes, beautiful." Think of your energy like a budget. If you only spend your money on bills, taxes, and debts, and you never ever buy a single cup of coffee, a book, or something that simply makes you smile, what's the point of the budget? You have to allocate a tiny fraction of your energy budget to pure, unadulterated joy. Otherwise, what are we surviving for? So here's your challenge for the week. I want you to audit your resting space. I want you to look at your couch, your bed, or your favorite chair. I want you to pick one low spoon hobby. It doesn't have to be diamond art. It can be a crossword book, a cozy phone game, a sketchbook, or an audiobook playlist. I have plenty of adult coloring books as well that I use every once in a while. I want you to put it in a container, a box, a plastic, a basket, or a tray, and place it right next to your resting spot. Drop the friction down to zero. And then, once you set up your low friction hobby station, I want you to take a photo of it. And please hear me on this. Do not clean up your room for the photo. We want to see the messy nightstand, the pill bottles, the laundry piled on the floor next to the bed. We want to see the dust. I don't care about the clutter. I care about your sanity. I want to see your little beautiful island of joy sitting right in the middle of your real low spoon life. Share your photo in our Patreon community. Drop a description of your setup in the YouTube comments and share it with us on Spotify. Let's show each other what sustainable, messy, beautiful rest actually looks like. Let's normalize reclaiming our joy without needing to have a perfect high energy life first. And thank you for spending these minutes with me today. Thank you for choosing to protect your precious spoons. And thank you for having the courage to do something completely unproductive today. You're doing a wonderful job just being here, just surviving. It's okay to be a B- version of yourself today if it means you have the energy to experience a little bit of joy tomorrow. Take gentle care of yourselves, and I'll see you next week.